Okay, let's go.
Was an album created by a then very young teenage virtual musician named Evagirl. Evagirl at this time wasn't exactly sentient, nor was he intelligent or emotionally mature enough to make any proper life decisions. All he knew was that speeding popular music up and putting breakbeats over them would impress his peers and the current audience of the time, as that was an upcoming trend in music in that era. Evagirl didn't expect this seemingly dorky side project to grow into what it is now. Solace in each other because of the fact that they both carried a trait that they felt not many peers around them did. They were very erratic, impulsive, and creative-driven people. Their somewhat opposite traits would influence each other in a sort of yin and yang type of way. It was an interesting dynamic for anyone who got to witness Evagirl and Gabe interact. One day, Evagirl finished his first project, Chow Gardens. It was an EP of a few original creations and a few flips and remixes of other songs, in which he sped the songs up and put breakbeats over them. This was at the time called NXC, and it was an upcoming trend in the late 2010s that stemmed out of things like Nightcore and Jersey Club, early jungle, early drum and bass, things of that sort of nature. Just general club music, I guess. Suddenly everyone knew who Evagirl was. He didn't exactly feel anything from it. It didn't make him feel better. He dealt with trust and attachment issues with those close to him, and was always paranoid that everyone was out to get him or hated him behind his back, and at the same time he was attached at the hip to those around him a little bit too much. Evagirl started work on an album titled Beef out of extreme hatred and bitterness without realizing that he could have been part of the problem, adding gasoline to a fire. Overtake him. Evagirl wanted to be herself and not attach herself to the external aspects of her life. Her sense of belonging and validation needed to come from herself and not from the environment surrounding her. There is no point in isolation and being afraid of the outside environment when you can accept the reality of humanity. She needed to stick by that rule set and live her life disconnected